Hey Liam, I'm going to give you a kind of slower tutorial of this music so you can wrap your head around what you're supposed to do. It's going to be harder than what you're doing, but the easy piano books that you're using right now, I think they really underestimate people's natural abilities because everyone has a kind of a natural ability for rhythm. And so I think all those easy piano books are actually too easy even for beginners. I think they're kind of dumb. You can make cooler music pretty simply. And you said you could reach an octave, so I'm going to use that a little bit. And okay, so the other thing is if you look in the description of this video, I'm going to put links to different times. So like if you want to learn measure 20, there'll be a link where you can jump to right that part of the video. So check out that description. So if you want to come back to this video and practice, you can go right to a spot that you're working on. That should help too. And of course, your piano teacher will help. Okay, so measure 1, right hand. You're going to do an octave and a fifth at the same time. You said you could reach it. Right there, C, G, C. You're going to start with the middle one and then hit the outside ones. And that happens twice. Now, measure 1 left hand. That's down here. Can you see it in the video? Yes, you can. Just barely. Okay. And that is this moving thing. That happens twice. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 times in a row. Really simple to do. You can do that at speed right away. So now measure 1, both hands together. This G comes before anything else. And then the octave hits at the same time as the left hand. Like that. You'll want to practice that a little bit, especially if this is hard for you to reach still. And then it'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, off. I think if you hear it at speed like that, it's a little bit easier. But of course, you should practice it like... etc. I think you can do that part pretty easily. Okay, measure 6, right hand. Very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really nothing to it. That's easy enough. I'm not going to do that twice. Measure 6, left hand. This is actually the melody, which is kind of fun when the melody's in the left hand. I'll play it first at speed. If you notice, my hand didn't move until I moved to the next section of the music. So the fingering, as always, is really important. And if you can use the right fingerings, then you don't even really need to look at your hands because your hand doesn't move. So it's going to start with this thing. This is very much like the opening of the piece in measure 1. Basically the same idea, it's just down here now. And if you do it with your thumb on top, and then use your pinky next. See, my hand never moved. It's actually all here. I'm using those notes only, and nothing moves. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it moves. And that's again basically the same gesture. We had this, then we had this. Now it's the same thing again. Just kind of a little roll in this case. So measure 6, both hands. I'll play it at speed first and then slowly. That's the tempo. So again, measure 6 slowly. There's a little kind of a scattered thing I'm going to point out to you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's the scattered thing. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. The scattered thing, it's there. So beat 2 is kind of divided into lots of little pieces. 1 E and 2 E and 3. Right? 1 E and 2 E and 3. And this, it's actually just that. It's just that. It's just that. Comes up a lot. Here. So this is a little pickup, this one. But it's not very important actually. So the left hand melody is sort of ba ba ba. Sorry. Ba 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 ba. That's all it is. Ba 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 ba. But we put some extra notes in. Ba 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 ba. So these little quick notes, they're not so important. You want to land on the longer, heavier note. Okay. At the end of that section, this is now measure 9. Now we're going to shift both hands. Left hand's going to shift just a little. This used to be 4th finger. We're going to hit it now with the thumb. So we can do that. And at the same time, the right hand is going to be getting over here to join the party. So this is just like the opening, except I'm not making you do it with an octave anymore. You could do it with one hand if you wanted. I would. I would do it with one hand, and you can if you can reach it, but it's a very strong, this should be like really forte, really loud. So I think it's going to be easier for you to do with 2 hands. So you shift your hands over and then just checking. Yeah, you can see that in the video. So the rhythms are very consistent. You're going to play this many times in the arrangement. And the little pickup thing. So that happens twice. That's kind of both hands. If it's somehow, if it's a little hard or you don't like it, or it's maybe the shifting of hand positions is too hard for you, you can use just the left hand. It's always possible to drop some notes in every piano piece. If something's too hard, you can just leave a couple of things out. It's fine. Okay, so now we are at measure 14, right hand. Pretty simple. I'm changing my fingering every time. I haven't really decided on that yet. But it's probably this. Because the first ones, you don't have to move your hand at all. And then you only move for the last part. And the left hand is super easy. You were already here. You were doing that, and now you're just back here again. So they're the same chords as before, just slightly different rhythms, and they're the same rhythm as the right hand. So it's the same chords as measure 10, we're still playing in 14. Both hands together, measure 14. Right hand shift, now left hand. So the rhythm there, if I count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully not too hard. If you get your hand positions right with the right hand, this part, now from here, you don't have to watch your right hand anymore. You can watch your left hand because the left hand is going to shift, but the right hand is stable. So you can do all this without looking at either hand because I'm right there. So don't even have to look at your hands. Now look at the right hand to get that. Now look at the left hand. So all that, you can look at only the left hand in this area here because the right hand is very stable. Okay, so measure 16, right hand. This is a fun little accompaniment part, and it's just a sort of a busy moving part, and it's going to use these three notes, G, C, D, and the rhythm matters a lot more than the notes. The notes, you can just jiggle them around any way that you want. The rhythm is ba 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 ba. And if you think of it like a sentence or like a little phrase like that, then it's fine. And you can just jiggle the notes. There's actually a sequence, right? The bottom one is always in between the top two. It's always kind of back and forth from one of the top ones to the bottom one. But it kind of doesn't matter because actually nothing's happening in the music. The left hand is just doing this again. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's the same chords as before. And the right hand is just jiggling around. Da da da, ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. And you can do anything you want. Blah blah. Anything you want. Just sort of stay busy here and it's fine. Just keep the pulse in your head. So this is how it actually goes. Measure 16, both hands. actually this is the important part. It seems like you're going to focus on this and you're going to be trying to play some stuff, but actually it doesn't matter. These are like little throwaway notes. This is all that matters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That's the important thing. And then this is like, doesn't matter. Hear how I'm playing the left louder? This is unimportant. So just kind of jiggle it, but keep this in time. Okay. And then after that is kind of a repeat. So measure 20 is the same as measure 10. And we're doing this thing again. Again, you could play it with one hand if you wanted. That's a C, A flat, and then it kind of slides down one, and then to F. But it's exactly the same as measure 10. And now measure 24, it's the same as measure 14. And then measure 26 is the same as 16. So basically, if you can learn up to measure 19, then you've already learned all the way up to measure 28. That's a repeat in there. It's just written out for the band. It's not written as a repeat on paper, but it's the same notes. Okay, so now measure 28, right hand. We have some chords here, which you're going to have to learn, but they're pretty easy. I made it so they don't move too much. So the first one is called an F minor chord. It's actually this chord, but we took this note and we put it down there. And then the only thing that's going to change in the next chord is the thumb. That's all. And then we're going to have a rhythm, left and right hand together. They're going to have the same rhythm. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's going to do that a few times. So the first chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the second chord, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we repeat the last chord one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Left hand is also really, really similar. You're here, and then only the thumb moves. So both thumbs are moving together. They move parallel like that. Exactly the same rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the second time, this gets stretched a little bit, this chord. Both hands together, measure 28. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. Okay, pretty simple. Now from here, there's a big jump. Both hands go boom, and they jump out, and you gotta move real quick. But it's very cool afterwards. that's a kind of a poof, got to jump out. But they're not hitting at the same time, which is really helpful. So you're here, and the right hand goes first. If you can reach all of these, that's great. If you can only reach 2 of them, then pick 2. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that much. And this hand, this is now measure 33, right hand. It's just going to make a lot of noise and jiggle around a lot. And there are a few ways to do it. You can think of the center one. I'm going to assume you're using 3 notes because you said you can reach the octave. So you can use the center one as like the center of a seesaw. Right, that's one way. Another way is to do with, so that was with my wrist, basically. I was doing the jiggling, it's called a tremolo. I was doing that with my wrist. Another way you could try to do it is with your fingers, so the wrist stays still. With the fingers. And if you're using fingers, you can go always down. Right? Da 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 da, like you're putting your fingers on a desk, like that. Or you could go up and down, like right, so that's only down or up and down, however you want. Or another way is you could hit 2 top and 1 down. And that's kind of wrist. That's not fingers. If you're trying to do 2 and 1 with fingers, it's a little harder. But if you use your wrist, like whack 2 of them, whack your thumb. So that's again kind of pivoting with the wrist. So there's a few different techniques, but one way or another, you're going to grab these notes and just jiggle them a lot. And the chords, measure 33, the chords are here for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it moves to here. So this one stays. See how I pivoted? That means when I pivot like this and I keep this finger there, it means I don't have to look because I know exactly where I am. This finger is my anchor. And I just kind of slide this way till I feel the black note. Second chord is here, only for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the outside stays, and just the middle moves. That's the next one. And that's also for 4 beats. So we have 8 beats, 4 beats, 4 beats. And then that repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Totally easy. But now you want to sound impressive, and it's a big part of the music, and you want to make everyone think you're cool, so you just move it a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the whole thing again. I'm going to use a different tremolo technique now. I'm going to use the 2 top and 1 bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'll use a fingery one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't matter how you get the notes to move. If all of those are too hard for you, if you don't like any of the tremolos and it just feels awkward, then just play these chords a lot. You can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. that's totally fine. Doesn't really matter. It's not important. So just do whatever can work for you. And if you don't like the octaves, then pick one of these notes to throw away, either the top one or the bottom one. And you could just do like just that or that, whatever. Okay, so that's the right hand. Measure 33, left hand, is mostly rhythmic. It's going to be 1, 2, ba 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 ba. 1, 2, ba 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 ba. And now a little different. 1, 2, ba ba ba. 1, 2, ba ba ba. So that's actually more important that you can sing those rhythms. That's harder probably than actually playing the stuff. So again, from measure 33, 1, 2, ba 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 ba. 1, 2, ba 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 ba. 1, 2, ba ba ba. 1, 2, ba ba ba. So you notice it's 2 the same, and then 2 more the same, but I mean a different same. Okay. Those are the first notes. Again, they're supposed to be really strong, so if you can't reach all of this, just don't play the top one. You could play that, or if you can reach it, play all 3. But the important thing is the strength, not all 3 notes. So if it's hard for you to reach, just throw away the top. From measure 33, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Different chord. 1, 2. Now again, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And those are much easier to play and to learn, I think, at speed. If you're kind of going slowly, I don't think slow practice helps here at all, because this is just, you know, repeating a note. It's not a big deal. So it's, I think, much better to learn just at the actual speed. So this hand is jiggling, and this hand is playing the rhythm. So 33, both hands together. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. I made a mistake. 1, 2. 1, 2. Different rhythm now. So this just goes. If it's too hard, throw some notes away. So here it would be, if I'm just choosing the bottom 2 notes here and the bottom 2 notes in the left hand, for example. 1, 2. Or if this makes your hand tired, you can just repeat it. 1, 2. Whatever works for you is fine. This, again, the left hand is the most important thing. 1, 2, ba 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 ba. 1, 2, ba 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 ba. 1, 2, ba ba ba. 1, 2, ba ba ba. So I'll play it as it's written. Again, 33, both hands. Jump. This is another 2 hands shifting thing, and this time both hands do need to play. Boom. Right away. But you can sort of cheat with the previous measure and let go a beat early, and that's okay. So it could be 1, 2, 3, off. Because you need to sort of give yourself some time to move. And that's when you use the pedal, the piano pedal, so it doesn't sound like this. You hear that empty space? If I use the pedal, you see the pedal filled that space up. So if you can use the pedal a little bit here and there, it helps. Okay, and now this is measure 41. I'm going to show you both hands together because it's very simple. Measure 41, this is the beginning of the Imperial March, but the listener doesn't quite know it yet because it's not all being played. And it's just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then another jiggle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 4 measures of stop. They're all C's, and you can play any C's. Doesn't matter, any C's you want. Right? You can play all down here. You can play just the lowest one. Whatever you want. They're just C's. Pick as many or as few C's as you want. But it's supposed to be kind of scary, so that's probably the wrong one to choose. But if you want to, go ahead. Okay, so measure 41, both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's a big move that I just did. I went from here all the way to there and back. You don't have to do that. You could just go like whatever you want. It's just 2 measures of the pulse, then 1 measure of blah, 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 and then 1 more measure of the pulse. Okay, I think you get it. Measure 45. I'm going to start with the left hand here. Measure 45, left hand. This is the Star Wars rhythm now. And at this point, everybody's going to know that it's the Imperial March. I wrote this in octaves, but it might be too hard for you in octaves because it's moving a lot. So if that's too hard, if you don't like the octaves, then just pick one, the top or the bottom. Again, doesn't matter which. Just play it like that. But the way it's written is with octaves. Okay, I'll slow that down. Bum, 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 bum. Still probably too fast to learn. So, you know the tune, right? Bum, bum, da 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 dun, dun, da 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 da. Right? You could sing that easily enough. So you got to kind of sing it in your head. Bum, 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 bum. Easy enough. The second measure, this low note is not at the end of the measure anymore. It's on beat 2. So that helps. First time, it's on beat 4. The second measure, it's on beat 2. This is the second measure of this section, so measure 46. It goes ba 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 ba. So you see how it's here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the 2 measures together. 1, 2, 3, 4 moves down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the following measure is the same as the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's a change, but your thumb is already right there. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. What I just played was correct. The first time I made a mistake. So if you're playing only the top notes of these octaves, I'll show you because it's slightly different. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hope that makes sense. Should be easy enough. Okay, the right hand, well, you have more options. It's going to be really, really similar, but it's going to go up instead of like the left hand was doing. Right hand's going to go up. And I don't know if you're going to be able to do it or not, but I put a chord there to make it cooler. But you don't have to play the whole chord if you don't want to. You can just play the top note exactly like the left hand. If you want to play the chord, it's not too hard. Your hand doesn't have to move a lot. If you start your hand here with the thumb on the C and your pinky's already up here, what happens sort of accidentally is that these fingers are sitting there waiting on those notes. And when those fingers are on those notes, you get that chord, and only the thumb has to move for the chord. And now the last part, you're already on the notes. So actually it sounds cool and kind of dense, but you don't have to move your hand, and you don't even have to look at your hand. So you can focus your eyes on the left hand, because the left hand, especially if you're doing the octaves, you have to look for this motion. During this time, it's of course that melody, except Brayden's playing it, not you. So here is 45, both hands. Right? That's the big theme. Ba 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 ba. If you want to simplify that, if we're playing just single notes in both hands, then it would sound like this. And now the last part. Okay, hope that helps a little. Now, look where my right hand is. I just got to move the thumb. Really similar to the last chord. Now this is a kind of a funny chord because I wrote it, this note, with a C flat, which means it looks like a C, but then you make it flat. We don't write that very often, but sometimes we do. And the reason we write it that way is because it still looks like a normal chord. It has the shape of a normal chord on paper. So then we can read it like a word instead of reading each individual note. So that's why. So it says C flat, but it's actually a B. You can think about that. Now it's a similar rhythm, except we're playing that chord. Basically didn't move. Still haven't needed to look at my hand. So here's measure 49, right hand. That rhythm is going to stay for the next many measures. Ba, 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 ba. And the chords are going to change. We have this, ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 and then back to the first chord. Ba, 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 ba. And now that whole thing repeats. Ba, 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 so that section goes twice, so that's 8 measures. And the left hand is doing exactly the same rhythm and similar notes to what you've played before, but a little different. So it starts on the A flat. Again, if you don't like the octaves, you can just pick one, top or bottom. 1, da, 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 da. So that's A flat, ba, 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 F, ba, 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 ba. That's a D flat. Ba, 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 ba. Back home to the A flat. Ba, 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 ba. So that happens twice, both hands together basically. And this may be one of the trickier parts for you because both hands are moving and you kind of would like to see both hands, but you can't, obviously. So what will help you the most is to learn the right hand first, learn the chords, and just think about moving from that chord. Top note stays. Top note stays again. So notice only the bottom two are shifting around. So here's the first chord. Here's the second chord. Here's the third chord. And here's the fourth chord, which is the same as the first one. That stays the whole time. So if you keep your pinky there, then that's your anchor, and you don't really need to look at your hand anymore because the rest of the notes can't move as long as your pinky is anchored there. And then the rhythm is there. And with the left hand, same exact rhythms, but now you're free with this pinky anchored, and you learn these chords, that movement, and then again. Then you're free to look at the left hand, and it sounds like this. Measure 49, both hands together. same thing you did before when the melody first started. Ba 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 dee da da dee da da. You're doing exactly the same as in measure 45. This is 57, and you're just gonna kind of do this same thing until the end, which you by here have already learned. And then you just stop. You don't play out the end of that second half of the phrase. Dee, da, 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 ba, dee, da, ba, da. Da, 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 ba, ba, da. You hear how it sort of matches the melody? That'll help if you just think of the tune or just listen to Brayden. Ba, 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 ba. Right? Every time you get to that low note, then you shift to that other thing. And again, you can just play the outside notes, and you don't have to play octaves. You can just do that. Ba 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 ba. And that's it. So now I'm going to try, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try, okay, what I'm going to try to do right now, I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm going to try to play along with the trumpet. So I'll start playing and hopefully I can kind of follow it, and Brayden's trumpet part will come in at the same time. So then you should hear what the finished thing will sound like, and watch me as I play. Let's see if it works. Okay, so that's fast, and that sounds like a lot, and I know that's way harder than anything you've learned so far, probably. But, oh my god. Are you kidding me? I've been recording black video this whole time. That's ridiculous. Okay, just in case you saw most of that, I hope you saw most of that and I don't have to re-record it. Each individual part is not so hard. It's just putting it all together and getting it up to speed. But I've written it so that each individual part, you can totally learn it and you can totally do it. And then at the end, it sounds like a big, hard piece with lots of sections. But each one is pretty simple. You can throw away notes you don't need. You only have to look at one hand at a time. And I think you can totally do it. So start working. Because Brayden's part's easier, actually. As always. Like with singers, trumpet players, you know, anybody who has the melody, they have the easy part. And then the people playing the piano, they're the real musicians. They got to do everything. So you got to work. Got to practice. All right, buddy. Mwah.